And everyone, happy to see you guys here as always. I hope wherever you're watching, you're having a great day. We have a very interesting, a little bit of a complex topic, and that is China's new alleged super weapon that they have introduced into the field that is working and flying reportedly in the region amid heightening tensions over Taiwan, potential conflict with the U.S. We're going to get into all of that, what the weapon is, and what it might mean for the actual battlefield. Before we get into all of that, as always, please make sure to like and subscribe, and most importantly, comment with your thoughts below. So the background here is that for years, China has been spending a ton of money modernizing, growing out, advancing the tech of their military for one simple reason and one simple reason only. They want to be a global power. They want to be all over the world like the U.S. is. That requires a lot of money, and they, for the longest time, didn't have the technology to do it. It's still unclear if they do, but they're certainly growing. They have, I believe, now 2 aircraft carriers. They have 300-plus stealth fighters. They are upgrading their air defenses. They are modernizing their nuclear arsenal. They are building a bunker in the country 10 times the size of the Pentagon. That will be a command and control bunker in case there is a war involving nukes. So they are investing a ton of resources and a ton of time, money, and energy into making sure that their military, if they want to take Taiwan, is capable of doing so and confronting whatever the United States might do. For example, the belief is that the timeline for them to go for Taiwan starts in 2027 and then goes until about 2031, 2032. That's the window when they think they can actually make a move on Taiwan and possibly get it. Well, there is a new piece to the puzzle, and it is the WZ-9 drone, which is making waves online. So what is the WZ-9 drone? What do we know? Let's get into it all right now. This drone, the WZ-9 drone, also known as the Divine Eagle, is made by, and I'm probably going to butcher this, so please don't kill me if I get this wrong. It is manufactured and designed by the Shenyang Aircraft Corporation and the Shenyang Aircraft Design Institute. It is shrouded in secrecy in terms of what we know until recently, when the War Zone did some incredible reporting. Now, there are photos of it, but unfortunately, due to copyright issues, I cannot show those photos here. There are some satellite images. If you look around, you'll be able to see the WZ-9 drone. It is a cause for concern, so we're going to get into it. This is reporting from the War Zone. China's large jet-powered twin fuselage WZ-9 Divine Eagle drone has been operating, at least sporadically, out of an airbase on the highly strategic Hainan Island at the northern end of the hotly contested South China Sea since at least December 4th. This is a new indication that this highly important aircraft is now at least in a semi-operational state. Let's get into a few details about what it can do. The WZ-9 is a high-altitude, long-endurance, hail, uncrewed sensor truck that carries multiple radars capable of spotting and tracking targets over vast areas. These include objects in the air and on the surface below, as well as producing high-quality, map-like radar images. While the operational status of the Divine Eagle is unclear, operations from Hainan, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, would make perfect sense for providing valuable broad-area early warning and surveillance coverage out into the South China Sea and potentially far beyond. A satellite image obtained by the War Zone from Planet Labs seen below shows the WZ-9 drone at the Leidong Air Base, also known as the Fulu Northeast Air Base, on December 4th. Leidong Fulu is a PLA Army-Navy base, a planned base, facility situated at Hainan's southern western end. Hainan is an absolutely critical location for the PLAs that host multiple bases, including 2 sprawling naval facilities, one of which supports the country's second strike nuclear deterrent and features a submarine cave. So it says that the first whispers of this were in the early 2010s. Details still remain incredibly unknown. Imagery shows an exotic looking drone, whatever you want to call it. It is 147 feet across and 50 feet long is the belief, with the wings kind of stationed out in the back, not in the middle or up front. They're more in like a back area, similar to what you'd see on a lot of modern drones. And here's the big problem. Here is the big problem. According to multiple reports out there, the WZ-9 is capable of tracking United States stealth aircraft, spotting where they are, tracking them, transmitting their location to people on the ground, and potentially then using that information to intercept, neutralize, and take our stealth planes down. So why is this important? What does it mean? What do the capabilities, if this thing can truly track stealth aircraft, how's that going to play out? We're going to get into that right now. As everyone watching this knows, having stealth technology is a game-changing ability, tool, resource, whatever you want to call it, on the battlefield. Right now, China has produced and manufactured 300 stealth fighter jets. It is not known, I believe that's the J-20, it is not known how many are operational, how good their stealth capabilities actually are, and all that stuff. The United States has produced way, way, way more, and we have 2 stealth bombers. We have the B-2, which is in regular service, is a stealth bomber. Then we have the B-21 Raider, which is going to be the replacement for the B-2. And we have 1 that's operational. There are, I think, at least 20 more on the way, although, again, unclear when those will be there. And then the 2 most famous fighter jets in the stealth category are, of course, the F-22 and the F-35. If we get into a conflict with China, our ability to dominate the airspace is going to rely heavily on our stealth capabilities. The ability of the F-35 to go in and light up targets. The ability of the F-22, which is the best air-to-air plane for combat ever invented. It has a massive weapons bay. It is incredibly stealthy. And for it to go into where it wants to go into and do whatever it does, that gives us a huge advantage. The problem becomes China has the ability to rush as many resources as it wants to its shores in the event of a conflict over Taiwan. We would then counter with naval power and overwhelming air superiority in air power. But that overwhelming air superiority in air power relies heavily on the fact that China cannot get to our planes. They can't see them. They can't tell when they're coming. They don't know where they are up in the sky. If the WZ-9 does what it's reportedly capable of doing, which is tracking stealth planes like the F-22 and F-35, and then relaying the information back to the ground so that that plane can be engaged by either fighter jets that are already up in the sky or by surface-to-air missile sites, air defenses on the ground, that takes away a huge advantage that the United States would have in any conflict. And I'm sure people are looking at this and they're like, well, it's a drone. Is it even armed? It doesn't need to be armed to cause a massive problem. If we lose our stealth advantage in the sky, it is a massive win for the Chinese. And it makes confronting them and fighting them significantly harder. That's the fact of the matter. You can debate how we should engage them. You can debate the proper way to engage them. But if we lose our stealth advantage, it is a huge step backwards. As long as we maintain air superiority and we maintain our stealth edge, we're always probably going to be fine confronting China. If we lose those, we have a major problem on our hands. Major. And again, it's unclear whether or not the WZ-9 is actually capable of tracking an F-22 or an F-35. The honest truth is we probably wouldn't know until the time came for us to find out. And at that point, things have gone really wrong if we're flying F-22s and F-35s in contested airspace. Keep in mind, the Chinese military has not been tested, ever, in modern times, by any legitimate foe. So yes, they're modernizing, they're pumping stuff out. They have poured a ton of money and resources into the WZ-9 with the goal of being able to take out American stealth fighters, which would be a massive tool that we would use to confront China. So that's something to keep in mind. They're aware of their own shortfalls, and the WZ-9 is their attempt to close that gap. Will it work? I don't know, but we need to be clear-eyed about what the risks are. China is the biggest problem this country faces. It's not particularly close. So as long as we keep our edge, we're going to be fine, and I hope that we do. We'll see what happens now that this drone has been discovered, reported on, it's out there. We'll see what the U.S. is able to do to counter it. I'm sure we have a way to bring it down. I'm sure we could blow it out of the sky, whatever it might be. It's a very interesting development. Comment with your thoughts below about whether or not you think we will go to war with China and who you think is going to win that fight. Make sure to like and subscribe. And as always, I'll see you next time.